Mystery writing is quite a challenge because there are subgenres to the mystery world. I have written two kinds of mysteries. The Clock Strikes Midnight is called a mystery suspense. It is not your typical dead body in the room mystery. There is a death, there is a murder, but the investigation of it is a cold case. So it's not your typical mystery, which is fine. It's still a mystery. When I wrote The E-Murderer, I wanted to write in a particular mystery genre, and I chose the amateur sleuth genre, only because I'm not a police detective, and I'm not in the police force, and I don't know what it would take to do that. So I am an amateur, and maybe I could run into a dead body. Hope not, but you never know. So I chose that particular genre. But with mystery writing, most of the time, you have to have some kind of, at least with the genre, murder. Some kind of dead body, somewhere. And it needs to be early in the book. When I wrote Murder on Moonshine Hill, I had a problem because I had a lot of characters I had to introduce, and a murder that happened after those characters were introduced. So I couldn't have the murder on the very first page, and yet most mysteries require that. You've got to have that murder early on. So I wrote what I would call it's not really a prologue, but it's like an opening paragraph, and then flashed back to 2 weeks later, or 2 weeks prior to that opening, so that the reader knows there is a murder, but they don't know who's been murdered, and they don't know anything about it until later in the book. The whole point of that in mystery is to capture the reader with questions. Who was killed? Why were they killed? And who did it? And those are the questions that permeate throughout all mystery. And then at the end, you solve those cases. Either the amateur sleuth solves them, or the detective solves them, or the police solve them. And so you have other genres of mystery, which are the detective mystery stories. That would be a detective hired to find the killer. Or you have police procedurals, in which you have a policeman who is going to find who was killed. And all of those still have the same thing, a murder, and then solving it. The problem I have with an amateur sleuth is people don't usually run into dead bodies that often. If you're a policeman and you're a homicide policeman, you're running into them every day, so it's easy in that one. You're always going to run into a dead body, and you're always going to have a situation with a murder. But with an amateur sleuth, you have to begin thinking about how is it